Welcome back. Still has Factor 90.3 Nigeria Info and here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. 9 minutes going past 5 p.m. Conversation continues. The matter we'll discuss next has to do with the situation, relationship, if you will, that's ongoing between the Kaduna State government and El-Zakzaky. A relationship that I suspect strongly El-Zakzaky would rather see end. However, the Kaduna State government seems to not be able to get enough of him, and so they're ensuring that that relationship continues at whatever cost. Well, here's the story. The latest for this one cuts the Nation newspaper. Kaduna files fresh terrorism treason charges against El-Zakzaky. Now, less than 48 hours after he was discharged by a high court of charges of culpable homicide, the Kaduna State government has filed fresh charges against the leader of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky. The fresh charges border on terrorism and treasonable felony against the state and federal government. It will be recalled that Justice Gideon Kurada had on Wednesday discharged El-Zakzaky and his wife Zinat from the 8 charges pressed against them by the state government for lack of merit. However, not satisfied with the ruling, the state government on Thursday filed fresh 7 charges against the IMN leader at the Federal High Court. Now, the State Director of Public Prosecution, Darius Bayero, said that with the fresh charges, the court will consequently issue an order for the arrest of El-Zakzaky for him to answer the charges. He further explained that some of the actions of the IMN leader upon which he is being charged with fresh allegations date back before 2015. Okay, let's leave it there for now. What do these fresh charges mean, especially for El-Zakzaky? There's another related matter to discuss in right now. My guest has been discussing this matter with me, at least quite recently, especially. Barrister Festus Ogwuche. Barrister Ogwuche, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks.
Was it last week we had a conversation on this matter?
Yeah, that was last week.
Just when he was released.
Yes, the very day he was released.
Absolutely.
The 28th or thereabouts, I think so.
Thereabouts. And now fresh charges being filed by the Kaduna State government. Does this strike you as surprising, considering what has played out the last 6 years plus, thereabouts?
Well, I won't say it's surprising. It's not a new thing to have somebody charged to court again upon the judgments given. If the other party is not satisfied, the normal way of getting it done is to appeal the judgments, but it's not very. But if you look at it within the context of the El-Zakzaky case, it's not just surprising; it is jolting, I must say.
Now, does this mean, you said ideally if you're not satisfied with the outcome of the case in court, you can appeal it, and
yes. Also
in this case I presume the Kaduna State government does have a right to appeal that judgment?
Yes.
But if they've chosen not to, does that mean that they also agree with the courts in some way that they probably messed things up?
Well, it's not just agreeing with the court. The other charge coming must be anchored on something, maybe something that happened immediately after the judgment, or maybe on fresh facts that have been obtained concerning the particular individual that have been discharged and acquitted earlier by the court. I don't think the Kaduna State government, particularly the Director of Public Prosecutions, had been able to show anything that maybe there are fresh facts that were not exploited by the other court that gave that judgment, that needed to have been put forward before another court. Because if there's need to bring all those facts as charges, then of course they had the opportunity of amending their charge before the other court, which they did not do. And
I was going to ask that. 6 years have gone by. When could these fresh facts have emerged? They didn't emerge over the last 6 years. Just in the last few days, could it be possible was when this fresh facts emerged?
Well, they have not said anything about fresh facts. The only thing I see, which is additional to the other charge, is terrorism. And probably the man had been involved in terrorism years before the 2015 event or something. Maybe they have other things, but I don't think he had at any time be connected with that. So if they're having fresh facts and new facts, or maybe things that occurred or actions he had taken immediately after his release from prison upon the discharge and acquittal of himself and his wife, at least we should be in the picture of it. But if they are charging him on the basis of those facts upon which the judge discharged and acquitted them, then of course it becomes a different kettle of fish altogether, because then you look at the law. The law does not allow double jeopardy. Somebody cannot be tried twice on the same set of facts. The charges could be different. It doesn't matter how you couch it. But so far as they relate to the same facts, it becomes double jeopardy.
What makes earlier you described the El-Zakzaky situation, especially with these fresh charges in quotes being brought against him, as jolting.
Very jolting.
But you do also acknowledge that it's not unusual. Maybe doesn't happen every time, but it's not unusual, not against any law, for even after judgment having been passed in the matter against the person, for the authorities to file fresh charges even immediately.
Well, it's not unusual, but then it's not something that a right that you should exercise in a rather bizarre manner when you don't have anything.
What makes this jolting particularly?
Jolting in the sense that nobody was seeing that coming. We even felt that with the judgment, with the strength of the judgment of the Honorable Justice Gideon Kurada, that everything will be settled there, because if you look at the integrity of that judgment, his lordship clearly stated that, look, you ought not to have brought this charge to me in the first place. It's not a charge that should come to court. And he gave them that air of freedom on the basis of a no-case submission made by their counsel, Femi Falana. And if you look at the issues before the court, you understand why the judge put it that way. So I never even expected an appeal. If you recall, in that day we didn't even explore that area, the possibility of an appeal, because I thought that would be the end. Then all of a sudden, well, I heard somebody say they are going on appeal. It was the Attorney General of Kaduna State. Then somebody else is saying now, okay, well, they had already filed the charges. And by what Femi Falana said this morning, the charges were filed at the Federal High Court on the 26th of July in anticipation of the judgment of the 28th of July. And they went to prison to serve in those charges, and he declined and asked them to serve his lawyer, which is the proper thing to do. And apparently they wanted those charges to be registered, so that at least they can hold him in prison for that period of time, even after the judgment had been delivered. So it's like a booby trap. But the trap did not work because the man declined to receive service of that process. So it is itself an abuse of process of court. The charge was still pending, as at the date he was served that charge. I mean, the matter in court was still pending. The charge before the Honorable Justice Gideon Kurada was still pending. And it was slated for 28th. But I think they just wanted to preempt that judgment and file fresh charges at the Federal High Court.
Do they have to wait for that initial matter to have been suspended before they can file fresh charges?
Exactly. If not, it's abusive of process. It's how do I put it? It tells me, what it tells anybody is that there's no formal charge before the court. And that charge cannot stand on the basis of that one, because it was filed while the other one was still pending in court, a court of competence.
So are you saying that while the matter is pending in court, authorities cannot file fresh charges against the person who's been accused?
It is abuse of process of court. It is overburdensome. It is, how do I put it? A whole lot of vocabulary you can use to describe it. The essence of the whole vocabulary is simply that there is no charge before the court known to law. No, so you cannot operate on that charge. So the proper thing for them to do at this stage is to withdraw that charge. If they have any other reason to file fresh charges against him, they can do that now.
How would that make them look?
Awkward. Rather very awkward. It's a very awkward situation to find ourselves. I don't know what they really want to get out of this man. Maybe a pound of flesh, but I think indecency has come in now, particularly with regards to lawyers. I'm very sorry to put it that way, but then it becomes clear-cut persecution in this case.
Yes, I was going to raise
because I wish to have the opportunity of looking at the evidence, the proof of evidence before the court, and the evidence given by the two senior soldiers, targeted at finding him complicit or finding him culpable of the charges. So they are very laughable, very, very laughable. You can't point anything connecting him or his wife to the event of 2015.
Now, you used that word again, prosecution. Last time you were in the studio, I think it was last week once again, we had this conversation. You put that word side by side, prosecution. And I think you did say that as against prosecution, what appears to be happening is prosecution of the man. Does this fresh charges confirm that for you?
Yes, to a large extent it confirms it, because I didn't think they took their time to look at the judgment, even if they are filing it now. I would rather say that that judgment is thought-provoking, is something that they should have looked inwards and look at the extent to which the state can be used to prosecute individuals who apparently are being pursued for other reasons, bordering on vendetta, if you get my flow. So I think this judgment, they should have thought about it. They still have their time of appeal. But to say that while that matter was pending and you are filing a fresh charge touching on terrorism, terrorism is a very massive offense. It's not something that you put side by side with the other charges touching on culpable homicide and there's this other one, disrupting public peace or something like that. It's a very strong charge, you know. So are you bringing it now as an afterthought? Are you bringing it as a way to nail it? Do you have the facts that point directly to what are the ingredients of terrorism, by the way? Dayo, the ingredients of terrorism are very, very clear. How do you get them? How do you put them side by side with the facts before the Honorable Justice Kurada, which led to his discharge and acquittal? How will it stand? You don't place anything on nothing and expect it to stand. I think the Kaduna State authorities ought to have taken their time to look at the judgment of the Honorable Justice Kurada, because there's a lot of wisdom in it, so much wisdom that will tell them the proper path to follow, the proper direction to take in a matter of the situation.
Looking back at the story, or going back to it, the State Director of Public Prosecution, Darius Bayero, said that with the fresh charges, the court will consequently issue an order for the arrest of El-Zakzaky for him to answer the charges. Should we contemplate that would likely happen? Another arrest?
It is very unlikely to happen. If it is the charge filed on the 26th day of July, 2021, pending, awaiting the judgment of 28th of July 2021, no court of competence will issue any bench warrant or warrant of arrest in respect to that charge, because like I told you, there's nothing before the court for the courts to act on. It's the charge itself is abusive of judicial process. It's marks of nonsensical procedure, and it's something that is taken rather very, very seriously. And I know the anvils of criminal trial has its scintillating parts, which one may run through and get into a cul-de-sac or into a dead end, but not this one. This one is not envisaged under any annals of law.
What if they carry out what he described as awkward just a while ago? Withdraw these fresh charges and refile the fresh charges. Might we see a scenario where El-Zakzaky is rearrested?
It's possible if the judge is convinced. Well, if he's arraigned, he has to apply for his bail, because the charge, there's a charge before the court. The Supreme Court has said that the fact that the prosecution is flaunting charge showing robbery, armed robbery, killing, murder, and all that does not mean that the person has committed that offense, and the presumption is still there. But a judge receiving a fresh charge and somebody being arraigned before him will first of all go through the rigors of bail. El-Zakzaky will go through the rigors of bail. The court will grant him bail, maybe this time on very liberal grounds, understanding the situation and getting them to I don't think any court of competence worth its salt, knowing the Nigerian judges for what they are, to the extent that I know them, my years of practice, I don't think any judge will want to remand him for the new charge.
All right. Might this also be because there was talk last time you were here? There was talk about El-Zakzaky seeking some kind of redress for what may appear to be a violation of his rights the last 6 years or so, and his lawyer, Femi Faranda, might pursue that path. Might this be a ploy by the Kaduna State government to scuttle any attempt?
Whatever they are doing now cannot even scuttle any attempt for him to get redress in the courts for the 6 years of incarceration, for all the deprivations he had suffered, all the pain and suffering, every bit of denials he has gone through. And I don't think the fresh charges will do. The fresh charges will be anchored on new facts, not the facts upon which the other courts granted him discharged and acquitted him.
Yeah, but the matter for which he was charged, for which he has now been acquitted, were offences supposedly carried out in 2015. Now, they're saying that these fresh charges are for offences carried out before 2015?
Well, we've not looked at the facts. I don't think they are charged with the proof of evidence. The proof of evidence has to show it. There's no statute barring the bringing of formal charges against any individual. It can take 100 years even. But then the question that will begin to walk in the mind of an average judge is why now? Why bringing it now at this nick of time? So they have to prove it, but the judge will be very worrying, reminding him, knowing at the back of his mind the circumstances surrounding the new charge and what it's probably meant to achieve.
But as half fact to 90.3 Nigeria Info and Heron Port Harcourt, Kaduna files fresh terrorism treason charges against El-Zakzaky. My guest is Barrister Festus Ogwuche. A commercial break, headlines 5:30. Discussions continue right afterwards. Please stay with us.
Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162, and let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817 001 8162. And let us connect you to your customers. Connect with your customers. Advertise on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Visit our downtown office at Shop 9, Mediatrix of All Gracies Plaza, opposite FIRS, Stadium Road, Port Harcourt, and book your commercials. Call 0817 001 8162. That is 0817.
Info on 92.3. Headline News.
Thanks for staying tuned. Here are the headlines. Fire guts 18 furniture shops in Port Harcourt. A man drowns in swamp while attempting to escape police arrest. Repair work to begin on Edeme axis of East-West Road after days of protest. And police arrest IPOB members who allegedly attacked 2 police stations in Imo State last week. 3 suspected kidnappers killed in a gun battle as police rescue abducted wife of Benue Commissioner. DSS brings detained Sunday Igboho supporters to court. The federal government receives another tranche of COVID-19 vaccine doses. Resident doctors at River State University Teaching Hospital, including UPTA, join indefinite nationwide strike over welfare issues. And the foreign scene death from floods in China's central Henan province last month rises to at least over 300. And YouTube bans Sky News Australia. In business, NNPC says petrol consumption in Nigeria leaped by 340 million litres within 1 month. In entertainment, more Nollywood stars mourn Rachel Onega. In sports, Oburu Dudu becomes first Nigerian to reach wrestling final in Olympics. Know that those are the headlines. Details at 6 p.m. Contact our newsroom on 0818 90017. Thanks for listening. I'm Adedayo Elusakin. Good evening.
Keeping up with political issues and developments around you only on Nigeria Info.
And now, Hard Facts.
Hard Facts with Dio.
Welcome back to Hard Fact 90.3 Nigeria Info and here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. We got 27 minutes to go before our 6 p.m. Top of the hour at 6. We've got the major news coming up. The open season is up after that. However, before then, discussions continue on Kaduna State filing fresh charges against El-Zakzaky. Filed fresh terrorism, treason charges against El-Zakzaky. My guest to join me in the studio is Barrister Festus Ogwuche. Barrister Ogwuche, you're welcome once again.
Thank you very much.
Now, as has been reported, which you also referenced a while ago before the break, when the state government filed the fresh charges, the court's bailiff reportedly, according to Femi Falana, was ordered to run to the prison where he was being held to go serve him the documents or the papers with the fresh charges, but he declined to be served, saying that the documents should be served to his lawyers. What difference would that have made if El-Zakzaky had accepted to be served while in custody? How would it have affected the dynamics of things?
Well, the service of a charge on the defendant, on the accused person, is very important. It goes to the root of jurisdiction. If it's not served, the courts cannot have jurisdiction to try him. So the charge will not be said to have formally been initiated if he did not receive service. Now, what bogs my mind is simply the fact bordering on the terrorism, which they say is a little different from what the substance of the facts upon which the Honorable Justice Crowder found him not guilty. We are yet to have that with specific reference to the proof of charges. I know that sometime 8 years ago, El-Zakzaky was in trouble, was in the military days in trouble with the authorities. Are they bringing those facts on, or are they related facts to the ones that had been found to not to be guilty, or are they connected in any way with those ones? It beats my imagination. But then the bottom line is that if he declined service, they will not say that the charge is pending yet before the court until he gets that service and all the appurtenances that go with it, the proof of evidence and every other thing that goes with it.
Well, Falana also insists that, or he says, he's convinced, I believe, that it was also a ploy to ensure that El-Zakzaky is still kept or remains in custody.
Exactly. If he had received it, then of course you would say that the charge is pending already.
But how would he remain in prison if a judge does not order that he be remanded in prison?
There's a fresh charge. So the authorities might decide to keep him there until they arraign him before the judge. Though it is not a very good procedure to take. I mean, for somebody who has stayed that long in prison, and you feel that maybe you want to file a fresh charge so that you keep him continually there. That's exactly what they wanted to achieve until he understood where they were going and declined to accept service. The implication that if he had received it, then he will remain, because he will now remain. It will now thrust him back into the coffers of the state. He will now remain there at the instance of the state.
Now, Femi Falana mentions also that surprisingly, his defense counsel, his lawyers were not served as he had requested. That El-Zakzaky's lawyers, Femi Falana and co, were not served. Now, if Femi Falana and co had been served, would it be the same thing as El-Zakzaky himself having been served? In other words, could they remand him in prison if Falana had been served?
If Falana had been served, it will paint a little different picture. I know that the procedure, the rules, the Court of Appeal rules, or the Federal High Court rules exist on personal service of such processes. If Femi Falana had been served that process, it would have been a different picture as far as I know, because he has not been personally served, so to speak. So it still goes to the issue of jurisdiction because it is a criminal charge. I'm not very sure. That area is still very grey. I'm not yet too sure about that. But I'm just thinking aloud that ordinarily the service should be on him directly. And if Femi Falana had been served, it doesn't alter the status quo in terms that he cannot be compelled to remain in prison where he had not been served directly.
Lines are open. Join the conversation. Can take maybe a couple of calls. 0817-923-0002 is the number to call. Also 0817-923-0003 or 0007. We're live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PA. Join the conversation there. Also via WhatsApp. Send your comments or questions on 0809-030-6416. Via Facebook, Victor Marcos sent this in. It's baffling how that Nigeria is tagging everything and everyone as terrorists. I don't know what they stand to gain from this, but this is damning our image abroad. Onishejo on Facebook also goes, Kaduna State government should use that energy of fighting El-Zakzaky and his wife in court to handle insecurity in their state. Now, that may not bother on legal matters, but do you have any thoughts about that? Well, we've got so-called bandits more or less running amok in Kaduna State, ravaging, kidnapping students, pupils and other individuals almost at will, and yet the Kaduna State government appears fixated on El-Zakzaky.
That's every state has its own priority. I think that happens to be its own priority. I expected some vigorous pursuit of all the arsenals of state authority against the bandits and against that are making life very, very meaningless for people of Kaduna State. I think there's something else about this El-Zakzaky thing. There's more to it than meets our own very eyes. Maybe it's more in the eyes of the governor or the state executive, because I don't see.
Please hold on, Barrister. We got Leko on the line. Leko, you're welcome. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dayo.
Go ahead.
Mr. Ogwuche, good evening, sir.
Go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
Yes, just to add to what Barrister Ogwuche has said, the law provides that the accused person or the suspect should be served personally. It's a personal service because it's an initiating process. So, but that's just by the way, Dayo. I wonder how a state government will spend taxpayers' money on an individual when the state is being ravaged by terrorism and banditry. Instead of the government of Kaduna State to focus their attention on the banditry in the state, they are focusing on the minority religious leader. It's so sad the way we think in this country. Very sickening, Dayo.
Good to hear from you, Leko. We do have to wrap this up. Can you conclude your thoughts? Just
Yes,
on the Kaduna State government, being fixated on El-Zakzaky.
It's just akin to somebody whose house is on fire pursuing rats and rabbits. I believe that by what the scenario of the events linked to the incarceration and subsequent treatment on while in incarceration and discharge and acquittal of himself and his wife and all the pains and sufferings, deprivations they suffered for 6 whole years. I think it's a sufficient punishment for whatever he has done or whatever he has alleged to have done, unless, like I said, there's more to it than meet the ordinary eyes. I don't think it is serving the purpose of the public to have Mr. El-Zakzaky put somewhere in incarceration in the face of all the marauding bandits taking over virtually the whole of Kaduna State. I think that should be the priority of the state government.
And how do you see this latest venture of the government ending?
Well, I cannot put myself in the shoes of the average judge, but I know that judges, they have the power of life and death, and because of that unique position they hold, and for the fact that they are responsible to the public, justice must always be seen to be done. But I think that this particular venture will be exercises in futility, whichever direction they want to take it from. I don't think it will see the light of day at the end of time.
Thanks for joining the conversation, especially my guest, Barrister Festus Ogwuche. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Commercial break now. We've got the major news top of the hour at 6 p.m. Opening season is about to dance. If you've missed out on any matter discussed on the show today, I'll take your thoughts during that period till about 7 p.m. Do please stay with us.